Hello, Stampers. Welcome. I'm Pat Fairless from Fairless Stamp and Flair, and today I have a fun technique. This technique brings lots of good memories back to me from when I was a kid. It's called rolling marbles, and we're going to make a background with it. So let's go ahead and flip the camera over. And we're going to get right into it. I want to try to keep this as short as possible. So I'm slow, so bear with me. So we're going to make a version of this card right here. This card will be on my Fairless Stamp and Flair blog tomorrow with a tutorial that you can go ahead and download. It has all the dimensions and step-by-step directions. This video will be linked, but we're going to make this background. If you see this back here, you might think it's designer series paper, but it's not. It's a background that I made with the rolling marbles technique. This card features all of the new in colors, and that's what I'm showing on my blog this week. All week is cards highlighting our new 26, 28 in colors. And I thought before we start the background, I'd just quickly show you this card here. These strips, the top, the back, the matte layer is the solid cardstock, and the top is coordinating designer series paper. So I just thought I would share this. It's called Painted Patterns, and it has, you get 2 sheets of each color, and there are double-sided. So the 4 patterns that you get are these smaller polka dots, kind of a paintbrush looking stripe, and these vertical stripes, well, they could be horizontal too, whichever way you want to turn it. And here's another one with the small polka dots. There's 4 different patterns, and then we have the large polka dots. So these are the 4 patterns, and these are the 5 new in colors. This one is called, Barely Blush, Hydrangea Hue, Peaceful Pine. You can probably see it a little bit better. I love this green, it's beautiful. This Hydrangea Hue is also awesome. I keep debating between these two, which is my favorite. This is called Golden Glow. And the last one here is called Crisp Cantaloupe. This is a bring back. We had Crisp Cantaloupe as an in color several years ago. So it must be trending because the in colors are always the latest trends in colors. So those are the 5 colors. And we're going to go ahead and make that background. And I'm going to make an extra piece so I have a piece to do with my envelope flap, for my envelope flap, and to decorate the inside of the card. So this is my card front. I am using thick basic white. You could use regular basic white. Whenever I'm doing something that involves a lot of moisture, I tend to go to the thick because it just handles it a little bit better. I'll be honest, this one here was done on regular basic white and it worked fine. But today we're going to use the thick, and this one here is regular because we're going to use it for the envelope flap, so I don't want it to be too thick. So to do this technique, what we need is we need some kind of a tray. I have some of these old Stampin' Up wood mounted stamp cases. So I'm going to use one of these. You can use any kind of a tray. Just make sure it's something you can wash because it's going to get inky. And you need some marbles. And I usually use 2 or 3. And then what we do is I'm going to have to do the 2 pieces separately. If I had a larger tray, I could do them both. But I like to just take some temporary adhesive and adhere it to the back of your technique sheet and stick it to the bottom of your tray. Okay, and then we're going to use the 5 colors that I just showed you. And because normally I would use probably 3, but you can do honestly whatever you want. Let's go ahead and just start with the Peaceful Pine. And I usually put a couple drops up here at the top of ink and maybe one at the bottom. You do not want to put your drops right on the paper. You want it off. And then you're going to put your marbles in and kind of keep it down there where the ink is and roll your marbles back and forth a few times. And then bring them down to the other side and get them through that ink spot as well. And then just start rolling them across the cardstock. Now, because I've got 5 colors, I don't need to get too many of each color. So, and I'm going to get inky fingers. So I'm going to take these out and I'm going to wipe them off. I should probably grab a baby wipe to dampen and get the ink off my hands. So when I pick up my cardstock, I don't make a mess. So we'll keep that handy with the dry paper towel over here. And I'm just going to get these cleaned and we'll lift this up. I didn't need to clean those yet, did I? Because I need to do my piece for the decorative strip and the envelope flap. So I'm going to lay this one here. I'm going to try to keep it as much out of the ink tracks as I can. It's just the envelope, so we don't have to worry about it too much. I might add just another dot or 2 of ink just to get a little bit more. And I'll grab one more marble. It's easier if you keep the, I didn't this time, if you keep the ink dot up near the edge, it's easier to get your marbles in it. But let's just get a few, some up here down at the bottom. I'm going to try not to pull this all towards me too much. So that's pretty good. So let's get these inky marbles out of here. And lift this out and set it aside. Now what we want to do is clean our tray. Now what I would normally do is just take this to the sink, rinse it out with water. But at this point, I'm just going to take my damp baby wipe, and I'm probably going to use a few of these and a few paper towels because I want to make this dry. And how much ink do I have on my hands? Not too bad. Okay. That's the only time we're going to clean because I have 4 of these trays. So the rest of them, we'll just grab a clean tray so you don't have to watch me clean them. But you do want to clean it up pretty well. Okay. So now let's take our first one. We've still got the temporary adhesive on the back. So just put it on here. And next, let's go ahead and do Hydrangea Hue. And I'm going to put my little dots up a little closer to the edges because that's where the marbles like to roll. And are these clean? That one doesn't look clean. It looks like I got a chip in it. All right. So now see if we can pick up some of that. Oh, and now it's too close to the corner. All right, let's come down here. I need a happy medium from right at the edge to away from the edge, but you get the idea. Get some ink, take it up the top and get a little bit more inky on the marbles. And start running the other colors over the, and you can do this, you can make their, oh, come on. Oh, I wanted you to go down right in that spot. Okay, that's enough blue on this one. So we're going to set this aside and we're going to take our extra piece over here and I'm going to add just a little bit more ink just so I can get the marbles a little inky. And roll it back and forth. Sometimes the hardest part is getting your marbles inked up. And when I say hard, it's just, you just have to be patient. Okay, that was good. We had a good roll on that one. So now let's just go ahead and clean off our marbles. And I'm going to set this blue tray aside. And I will grab a clean tray. Too bad I don't have 5. Usually I only make 3 colors, but I wanted to use all of the in colors this time. So we're going to put this back in here. Give it a good press down onto that temporary adhesive, and let's use crisp cantaloupe this time. And again, we'll stick our marbles up here, put some ink on them. Doesn't want, there we go. Didn't want to go through that dot. And we'll get a little bit down here. And we'll just start rolling it across the paper. You can try to make your marbles just go straight lines. You can try to get it on there and go in circles or squiggles, whatever you want to do. Just be sure you leave some white space. You don't want it so covered that you can't see the white. Okay, let's get these babies inked up again. The more ink you get on the marble, the fatter your lines will be. And let's try to get something right down here. There, I like that. All right, let's set that aside. Those will go in the sink. And we are going to do color number 4. And let's go ahead with the Golden Glow this time. And I'll get 3 clean marbles. I mentioned that this, every time I do this technique, it reminds me of a marble game I used to play with my dad when I was a really little kid. I don't know if it was real marbles or a made-up game my dad had, but we had fun. I'd sit on one end of the room and he would sit on the other end. I'm trying to get something up in that corner. There we go. He'd sit on the other end. We'd play some marble in the middle of the floor between us, and then we'd each take our marbles and try to roll it and hit the one in the middle. And I think if you hit it, this part I don't remember. If you hit it, I think you got to keep that marble, and whoever collected the most marbles won. But it was just fun to play with Dad. So it brings back happy memories. All right, here we go with Golden Glow on the last piece. Oh, there, that one went right where I wanted it. Sometimes you get lucky. The marbles aren't very easy to control, I'll be honest. They kind of have a mind of their own, but that's what's fun because nothing's ever gonna look the same. So our last in color is the Barely Blush. It is a pale, pale pink. And for this technique, it doesn't show up a lot on here because it is so light. But you can't just skip it. You still have to use it, right? You could. Okay, let's come down here and get a little down there. Let's see. Here I'm going in circles. I feel like I need a little bit more stripes on this side over here, but they don't want to go on that side for some reason. Right in there. Oh. I want it to go right there, there. Don't ask me why. It just felt like now it feels like I need something here, but it's probably not going to want to go there. And we'll ink up our marbles and we are almost done. Come down to this side, pick up a little more, and let's see if I can try to get some across this way. Right there. There we go. That's where I wanted it. You know, the spots I'm probably trying to cover are probably going to be covered up on the card anyway. So, but that is marble rolling, and it's a lot of fun. I tend to grab a damp thing to wipe my hands if I get my ink off most of it. I like doing techniques that you never know how they're going to end up. So here's my extra one for the envelope flap, and here's the one for the background. So let's go ahead and make our card. I'm using a thick basic white card base, and we're just going to adhere this card front. For some reason it looks wrong size. Nope, that's right. I'm just going to cover it all up. It doesn't matter. Why am I debating? Because that's what I do. That's why it takes me so long to make a card. Okay, so now we have our card front, and you can see the pink, the barely blush in there in a few spots. And while I'm doing this, let's just go ahead and cut this down for the envelope flap. And then I'll have a piece of strip for the inside of the card. And what do I need? Well, I've got it here. We might as well go ahead and do the envelope. And I'm just going to add some adhesive on the flap. Try to get close to the edge because that's where it'll want to lift up when the post office does its thing. And I like to take my flap, the blue line up here, and just kind of slide it, which helps push that ink up to the fold. And I'm just going to set that aside and go ahead and let it dry. So now we have our card front, and I am, rather than using the DSP, I am just going to use the solid colored pieces. And I have embossed these. I wanted to see how it looked with a little less busy. I felt like the DSP and the background were maybe fighting each other a little bit. So I thought I'm just going to try it with some solid pieces. And I thought what I would do is show you, I'm going to grab myself a grid paper here, show you how I figured out how to place these things. So let me slide this up. And center it on here. We're going to put them in this order. So if I put the center at 8. I think you can see that. I'm going to start with the center color. This is the way I found it's easiest. And I do have these, I think, so they match up. Yeah, straight and straight. So I can center this at 8 and try to get the bottom and the top as equal as we can, spacing. Do I want them flat or do I want them up on dimensionals? I think they need to be up on dimensionals. So we are going to go ahead. It just gives it a little bit more dimension and it gives me a little bit of lift. So now I'm going to need some extra ones because I really have glue on here already, but it's all right. We can work with this. Of course, I have glue on my fingers, so these little backings on the dimensionals want to stick to my fingers. And I want to make sure I'm lining up my pattern. All right, so now we're going to go back, put it back on the 8 in the center. And center it there. Okay, now the next two, I take the outside pieces. And let me just go ahead and make sure. Yep. So if I put this one on here, then it's easy to center this one between them. And I don't have to worry too much about my spacing out here because we're just going to center it. That way you don't have to I was trying to measure. I'm like calculating how big do my gaps need to be so they're equally spaced because I'm used to starting at one end and going across. So it goes out here on the outside. And let's try to line it up here on the bottom. Keep it straight. And we'll do the same over here on this side. And then we can just center the last two pieces between them. No measuring involved. So I'll get it about close to that. We'll space it similar to the other side. Okay, they're about equal out there. And now you can see how easy it is to just center them between the two. Okay. And one more. Now, what I didn't do, which I should have done, is put my ribbon. I should have laid my ribbon down here first. And I did not do that. So I might have a little problem with the center one because I put a lot of dimensionals on that one, didn't I? So I am just going to carefully lift that one up to get it under there. And then I should be able, I think, to just slide it under. Just stick it through. This is the new In Color ribbon, and it is, why don't you want to come through? Oh, there's no dimensional there. It's just sticking. It's probably sticking because of this one. Well, okay, we'll carefully lift this up till I can get it. There we go. I think this one's going to need a little bit of glue on the dimensionals because the paper kind of tore a little bit. There's ways to fix everything, right? So do what I say, not what I did. And lay it down there first before you put your pieces down. I was in a hurry. I've made a sentiment from Phrases and Frames. This is a new set. This is Impressions, includes the Impressions dies. And I want to show you these. These dies are very cool. And you can see in all these like open areas, when you use an impressions pad, can you see it? I hope you can see it. Get it up here nice and close and then try to turn it. Can you see how it's bubbled up? It looks really, really pretty. And what I did, because I want these at the same level, and the die that does these cuts both the oval and the outside, and it, I want to pop them up both equally. So I am just going to take a piece of adhesive tape on the back and just adhere the two together. And that way, when I add my dimensionals, they will stick together. And I'm down to edges. So we'll just cut up the edges. And I need it about where the ribbon is. I think I'm going to put it just a little bit above where my ribbon is. So right about there. And we will tie this. I am not going to make a bow. Even double knots, I struggle. I am sure all of you could show me how to do this much better than I can do it myself. So we will just trim this off. At least I gave myself plenty of ribbon. Probably a little shorter. I'd rather have too much than not enough because, man, it definitely makes it harder to tie if your ribbon is too short. All right, we need ribbon scissors. Paper scissors, cutting ribbon is just not the way to go. All right, we need just a tad of bling. These are the new In Color butterflies. So we are just going to add a couple of butterflies in different colors over here. And I want one on there. Let's put one of these golden glow ones right there. How about that? So there is the front of our card. Now you can see the differences of what I did. I used green ribbon, Peaceful Pine, instead of the Hydrangea. I don't know. I'd be curious to know which one you like the best. I think the one with the designer paper, when I first made it, I'm like, oh, this is way too busy. But then it started growing on me. And I decided to try it with just a solid piece and emboss it. So in our center, we have made our strip. So I am going to, before I put the strip on, I'm going to stamp a sentiment. And I'm going to use another one from the Phrases and Frames. And on the front, I put, have a fabulous day. And I'm just going to make it a birthday card, happiest birthday wishes. And we will use, where's my ink pad? I don't have my ink pad. Well, we'll have to find it. Since I used Peaceful Pine on the front, we will use Peaceful Pine on the inside. If you haven't seen the new, these are the In Color ink pads, and they are in the new magnetic cover. If you haven't seen these, very, very easy to open. And you can also just pile it on top of each other and they hold in place. They are felt pads as opposed to foam. So you do have to think a little bit about it. That is not the one I want. I don't multitask well. You do have to push a little harder on a felt pad. And I'm going to do a practice one over here to make sure I've got a good straight stamp. And we're just going to add this here. Because if I messed it up, got it crooked, put in the wrong place, if I had my pretty handmade DSP already on it, then I'd have a problem. If I did it bad now, I could just flip it over, right? So let's go ahead and add this. And I'm just going to lay it across the bottom. It's a little longer because it's 6 inches, which is what the envelope was. And I want to get it right on the edge. And we will just, I usually make my strips longer anyway, and then I just cut them to length. If I try to cut them to length before I adhere them, sometimes they're still too long and sometimes they're too short. And if they're too short, you're kind of stuck. So I like to trim them off. Just something I've gotten in the habit of doing. You do whatever works best for you, but that works best for me. And when I have my stamp camps where I pre-cut everything for the stampers, that's what I normally do for them as well. I just leave them a little long and then they can trim them. And I've had nobody complain about that. They all kind of like it too. Or maybe I just trained them to like it, because it's what they're going to get. And put this on the inside and we will be done. Oh no, we need to trim down our envelope, don't we? Get this straight. Okay, let's go ahead and snip this off. Just follow your envelope flap to trim it. I guess it would help if I held it in the frame and not way over on the side, right? So you can see what I was doing. Having it right in the center of the frame of the camera is problematic because I can't see what I'm doing because it's hidden by my camera. But there we go. And here is our other one with the DSP. This one I had leftover strips of the DSP that I had cut for here. So I just decorated the envelope with those leftover strips. And there is our two cards. I don't know, now that you can see them side by side. Which one do you think? Do you like the solid without the DSP or do you like the DSP? I don't know. From a distance, I kind of like the solid, I think. But there's something interesting about this. Maybe it's because I put a colored border around here that I like. I'm not sure. What do you think? Leave me a comment. I'd love to know. So let's flip back. We made it. Wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this today. I was having a little technical difficulties earlier on, but it seems like it's been working this time. So we will wrap it up and let you go on your way. I hope you give the marble rolling a try. It is really a lot of fun, and you're not going to know what it looks like. I would recommend normally 3 different colors is usually fine. Looks nice combination, but you could also do like a monochromatic and pick 3 different blues or 3 different reds, pinks, and do it that way. That could look pretty too. So just play and have fun. Thanks for watching, and we will be back next week with something else. Until then, have a great week. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.